Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a Dollar Tree DIY. We're going to make like a little farmhouse wreath with a twist, and I'll share it with you. We're going to use this sign that we made 2 years ago on our channel. It is so cute, but you can use any sign. We're going to use some mesh. We're going to end up using 2 black and 2 of this like neutral with orange. Some black and white check ribbon, some neutral ribbon, some mini check ribbon, all from the Dollar Tree. And then this is the only thing that's not from the Dollar Tree, is this roll of burlap ribbon from Walmart. However, it is $3.47, but it is huge. I think it's like 30 yards or 10 yards or 15 yards, or I don't know, it's a lot. It's a lot. We're also going to use pipe cleaners. Got these at the Dollar Tree. They don't have to be all black. You're not going to see them, so whatever color. And this time we're going to cut them in half. I know in previous videos we've used like the third, but because this burlap ribbon is very thick, we're going to end up using just a half, because we're going to want it to still have some room to twist onto the wreath. Now, there are many ways to make mesh wreaths, and I know we've done a bunch of different tutorials on this channel, as well as many other YouTubers out there. But what I wanted to do on this one is a little different, as I wanted to mix a combination of mesh and burlap ribbon. Now, Dollar Tree does sell a burlap ribbon with wire edge, and they sell a raw burlap ribbon from time to time, but they don't have anything quite as wide as they have their mesh. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking the sign that I actually glued Jenga blocks on the bottom to stand, to make like a stand, and I'm just ripping them right off, because we're gonna make a medallion for our wreath. Now, what I really wish I could have done is made this on the 18-inch wreath form, but I know you guys really have a lot of trouble finding that. And I wanted to keep the price down a little bit low. Sometimes when you watch wreath tutorials, they tell you need like 7 or 8 different rolls of mesh, and it can end up being kind of pricey. This burlap ribbon's $3.47. We're going to use less than half of it, but say we use half of it, say we use $2, $4 for the other mesh. That makes it $6 in that total. We're going to use 1 black and white buffalo check, actually less, 1 of the Dollar Tree wire edged burlap ribbon, but less than a whole one, and we're going to use those 2 little rolls of ribbon. We're going to use less than a whole one of those. So really this could just be like $10 in supplies total, but you will have supplies left over. But then again, so wire, so then yeah, forgot about the pipe cleaners, but you know, really, that's what I'm trying to say. So you can make this for less than $10. That's where I'm getting to with it. So just like in our previous videos, this is going to be like that rolled tube wreath. And we're going to cut these pieces of, well, this is burlap. We're going to make them just a little bit longer than the length of the mesh. Just about to just like a tiny bit longer. You don't want to make them too short, because then they won't really fluff out. They won't look full. We're going to do the same thing with the ribbon. We're going to make it just a little bit longer than the actual roll of the mesh. That's why the mesh is laying there, by the way, in case you're curious. And we're going to cut 7 strips. We're going to end up using all 7 of them, but what I usually do is I plan to use 6. I make 7 just because I can, and I know that's crazy. The mesh, this size, when I cut it this size, the mesh usually yields me 21 or 22 pieces at the size we need for this technique. So that's where I get the 7 from. So like 21 pieces of mesh at 3 pieces per bundle kind of creates 7 bundles. So I just go ahead and I'm cutting this buffalo check. I hope that you guys were able to land some of this buffalo check ribbon at the Dollar Tree, but keep in mind that Hobby Lobby, whether or not you have one near you, you can order it or whatever. They usually have giant rolls of this at Christmas time for about $5. I got 75 feet last year for $5 after they had a 50% off Christmas sale they usually have early in the season, and you can just pick up whatever you need there, and that's usually like a good tip. I got that tip from one of you all, actually, so thank you. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll the 3 pieces of burlap. We're going to lay down the black and white ribbon, and then that little beige ribbon from the Dollar Tree. It came in the autumn section, that little beige ribbon. They had like a really pretty beige and orange buffalo, like a gingham, and they also had this pretty neutral beige with like tiny little gold edge. And just going to make this wreath just like we've made the last autumn wreath from a couple of years ago with the red truck in the middle. 3 rolls, bundles between your fingers. You're going to lay the big ribbon, you're going to lay the small ribbon, and then you're going to fold your pipe cleaner in half and then pinch the bundle right in the middle. I see how I kind of fold it in half as I twist the pipe cleaner. This way I can ensure that the pipe cleaner is landing in the middle of the bundle. Now, I will remind you, I was inspired by Amber from the Southern Girl Can. She totally taught me how to make this. We did a collab-a-ween a few years ago, and I was so excited, and I found her channel that way. Thanks to Auntie Cuckoo, because I wouldn't have found her channel otherwise. So now we're going to do, we made 7 bundles of them. I didn't leave that all on there for you guys, just so you see. In the beginning, I glued 4 pipe cleaners to the sign. Just like we did previously, you want to be able to make the pipe cleaners both hold on to wherever you want the wreath to be, the sign to be on the wreath. So I glued them so that they could be in the inside of the wreath as well as on one of the sides of the wreath. That's why we use whole pieces of pipe cleaner. And I just glued them with hot glue. I'll use plenty of hot glue, and set it off to the side. I will tell you that when I set it off to the side, unbeknownst to me, one of the pipe cleaners came out of the glue, and I had to re-glue it at the end. You'll see that. But you're just going to cut all of that black roll, and then you're going to cut, this is the regular Dollar Tree burlap neutral color ribbon with the wire edges. I decided to cut this on an angle, so you cut it, I call them dog ears. When it's one angle from side to side, that's what I call a dog ear, and when it's the V cut out in the middle, that's what we call a dovetail. I don't know if I created that or somebody told me that 1,000 years ago and I just remembered it. So what I decided to do was to cut all of these at a dog ear. So when you cut one, the top of the next one's ready to go. So it makes it easier. And then the same thing for the black and white gingham. This black and white gingham came out in the regular garden section, the regular craft stuff. I guess I got it in the springtime maybe. But I tried to, they only had one black and white. I got one of each color, and they only had one black and white one because I would have cleaned them up out of black and white, but use it sparingly. But you know, you can always get these ribbons and supplies at for $1. That's not what I was going to say. With a coupon for like inexpensive at Hobby Lobby. Michael's has coupons. I mean, the best thing to try to do is, if you live near one, is to go on a regular basis, and you can go ahead and pick up supplies as you need them. Just get things that you know you'll love in your home, and then eventually you'll be able to use them in something. So this, we're just going to repeat the same thing. We're going to make 3 bundles. We pinch them between our fingers, which makes it easy to roll up the third one. And then we're going to lay down a piece of burlap ribbon and then a piece of the gingham check. If you notice, I cut the check ribbon on a different angle than the burlap ribbon, just to give it some interest. Now, once you have this twisted, it is really tight. However, you can slide those ribbons back and forth. So if one of them gets, pushed up or pushed down, not even, then you can go ahead and adjust that. They give a little bit of wiggle room. It's harder to adjust the mesh because it's like they kind of want to stick themselves. But you can adjust the ribbons after you have it all twisted together. And just like the other bundles with the burlap, we're going to go ahead and we're going to create 7 of these. Now, the amounts and the types of bundles is a matter of personal preference. Some people just make bundles with ribbons, and that's okay. It will cost you a little bit more money, that kind of thing. And I don't know that you necessarily notice it as much because you've got so much, nothing stands out, if that makes any sense, okay? So now this ribbon I found, this mesh I have other ones that are gold on one end and beige on the other. This one is beige on both ends. And though it is orange in the middle and has a little orange sparkle, if you notice from the thumbnail, it doesn't really look orange. It doesn't really show orange. It's really, really strange. It does pick up on like the burlappy natural feel of all of the materials. So that really is what makes it the choice that I picked. Sometimes you can get that neutral beige burlap. Sometimes you can find it at the Dollar General. So I'm not burlap, mesh. Sometimes you can find it at the Dollar General, but sometimes they do have it at the Dollar Tree. It's just one of those, just like finding all of these supplies. You like unicorns. You feel excited when you see them. You got to grab them when you can, or you may never see them again. But I just decided to use these because I figured it was a good combination. Now for the next, I think we made 14 bundles of 2 orange and beige ones and 1 black one in a bundle with no ribbons. We did that because we wanted to make it a little like add some color, but not like take away from all of the black and white going on. So I wanted a tiny bit of mesh with a tiny bit of color to be present there, if you know what I'm saying. The question is, do I know what I'm saying? Okay, so the reason I mentioned in the beginning that this was going to be a farmhouse wreath with a twist is because, just like we've done many times in the past, if you can stick with neutral colors, you can change them out with on wreaths. You can change them out with your medallion. So last year we glued one of those wooden pumpkin signs from the Dollar Tree to some pipe cleaners, and we added them to wreaths. Any box art, any little signs, any signs from the Dollar Tree that you want to add to a wreath, you just glue your pipe cleaners on it. When you keep your colors neutral, it'll work. We have that black chalkboard looking pumpkin sign. That would look great. Any of the tags would look great. And because even though it does have orange in it, it doesn't have any orange in it. I know that sounds silly. Really, none of the orange shows. It just looks very, very neutral so that you can carry it over from season to season if you want to. Okay? That's what I was trying to get to. So we're going to continue just to make our bundles. When I was trying to figure out exactly how much ribbon or mesh we would use for this project, I wasn't sure how much yield I would get from my Walmart burlap, and that was really why in the beginning I don't have an exact number. So this is a 14-inch wreath form from the Dollar Tree, and just like we've done plenty of times, we're going to go ahead and lay them on. The first 2 are going to be laid, well, I should say the first 2. First we're going to lay the neutral, the no ribbon mesh. We're going to put 1 tied on the bottom, the inside 2 wires, and the second top one tied on the outside 2 wires. Now, though we did make 14 of these, the wreath form is broken up into 6s. So we're just going to put 2 on each for now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fill in with the remainder. And you'll see that towards the end. I found it easier to do it that way to make it more symmetrical. And then to go ahead and figure out where you need to stick in the other ones, depending on where you put your sign. Really may make a difference of where you put those additional bundles. Okay? And all we're doing is working backwards. It kind of is a lot easier than trying to like put the thing on and then turn it over. We can always flip it back over at the end and we can fluff it. Don't forget. So now when it comes to the bundles with the ribbons, I went ahead and I decided to just put all of the bundles with the ribbons along the middle 2 wires. So it's basically you put a wire on both sides. You put a pipe cleaner on both sides of those 2 middle wires and twist them over that middle. And that kind of spaces it out more evenly, and it kind of makes it fuller as well. Of course, there's different ways to lay your mesh on there. I think before I could tell you that we've made wreaths where we just totally skip the outside ring, because the mesh hangs over it and you don't really see it. And unless your mesh is see-through, which nobody's mesh is see-through, you really don't notice it at all. Okay? And even this wreath, by some people's standards, could probably be a lot fuller. But I told you in the past, if you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Jeri-Ann. But if you've been around for a while, you know I don't like those crazy full wreaths from me. That's not my taste. I feel sometimes like they're a little extra. They're a little over the top. It's just a little too much for me, so that's all. All right, and we're going to leave those 2 extra ribbon bundles till the end as well, and we're going to see, once we put our sign on, where we think that those could go. But what I did for a pattern is I did sort of like an upper plane. I'm going to call the planes the orange, beige, and black mesh only ribbons. We're going to call those plain. And then I'm going to refer to the black with ribbon or the burlap with ribbon. So it goes a plain one, a black with ribbon, a plain one, a burlap with ribbon, and continues on. And it goes from like top to middle to bottom to top to middle to bottom like that. So now this, we're going to put the sign in the middle. I'm kind of like trying to decide, just like we did in our previous videos, you want to like pull some of your loops out. There's different ways of tying them on. You can actually put the sign behind the center so it just, you can see it through it. I think that's what we did with the red truck. But this one we're going to sit on top of it. And why we leave whole pipe cleaners is because we don't have to pull it all the way in. We don't want to make it so we have to put it on the inside of all that ribbon. We can lay it on top. Now, like I said, I would have really preferred this after the fact to be on an 18-inch wreath because the sign is really kind of big, but it just really makes an accent for the sign. Plus, you know, we have the wreath for other signs, for other holidays and for other seasons. It's very easily changed out to put a Halloween sign on there. Any of the black and white Dollar Tree Halloween signs would be so cute. I think that there's not really much Christmas stuff that came out yet that I think would work just yet. But, you know, sky's really the limit. As long as it goes with your farmhouse style, then it will go with this wreath. Because, like I said, it's a neutral farmhouse. This is me fixing that glue. Do you remember I said the pipe cleaner must have got knocked off the glue and I had to, like, re-glue it. So, hey, I leave the mistakes in there so you guys know when you make mistakes, you're not alone. The other thing that I noticed that I didn't tell you that I did was when I pulled this sign out of storage, something had bent the stem in. So all I did was put a popsicle stick behind it to give it some support. Sorry, I snorted, but I just get mad at myself for not remembering words. Okay. And then we're going to create a little hanger by just taking a pipe cleaner and looping it around and tying it on one of the uprights and twisting it on in the back. And that's it. So hopefully you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. Hopefully I inspired you to use a pre-existing sign that we might have made in the past or any sign to create this neutral farmhouse wreath that you can carry over from season to season. I know not everybody decorates for Halloween, but this is perfect for Thanksgiving. If you like it, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to do sharing and subscribing. And if you have any question at all, leave them in the comments down below. I swear, I promise, I will get to all of the comments. I promise. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe. And when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. But by the way, I switched that to the side. I thought it looked better. And as always, you guys take care. God bless. And we'll see you next time. Bye.